Hello friends, welcome to LeggLife. And this video has the potential to be a little bit long.
Yeah.
But it's only because we have so much stuff that we want to cover, because in today's video, we are going to be reviewing the entire Disney resort vacation we just got back from. We're going to talk about the resorts we visited, the food we ate, the places we drank, the transportation we took, the decorations we saw. It's going to be a lot, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, it is. Before we jump into this video, we do want to remind you that we are not by any means Disney resort experts. Prior to this trip, we had stayed one night on a Disney property at Alani, and so we don't actually really know what we're talking about. We're just giving you our opinions of what we saw and what we did.
That's exactly right. We actually had not even been on site at any Disney World resorts.
Right.
This trip was the first time we'd ever walked into the lobby
Yes.
of a Walt Disney World resort. So this is all brand new to us. And so remember that as we're talking about this, what we're going to share today is our perspective from our experience.
Yes.
I know that this is a topic, people get heated about Disney stuff.
I know.
People get heated. And so just remember, this is our perspective on our experience of all the things that we saw. And just so you guys know, Auburn actually has already done her kind of review wrap up from this trip.
Yes.
And as I was watching her video, I thought about being like, we don't even need to do ours, because I just agree with everything she said.
Yeah,
And
so we'll link that below. You can go watch that.
Go watch hers to get her perspective on how the trip went down below.
We're going to start with where we actually stayed on this trip. It was, we stayed in one of the bungalows at the Polynesian Village Resort.
And full confession, because of where we stayed and how just genuinely unbelievable it was, it kind of clouded everything else for the Polynesian for us. So like, when we think of the Polynesian, we think of the Polynesian as like the pinnacle.
Like the best experience possible.
Because we think of the bungalow.
Sarah, Auburn, and Emma used their DVC points to book this and invited us to join them. It was a 2-bedroom bungalow that we shared between the 5 of us.
It had 2 baths. It had full kitchen, living room, the beautiful deck, that little soaking pool. Without a doubt, not only the nicest place we've ever stayed, probably, I mean, realistically, probably the nicest place we will ever stay.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it was one of those once in a lifetime, it felt like at least, opportunities.
It was perfect. We talked about in the vlog how this was like a bucket list thing for us that we never actually really thought would happen. So we did go into this with pretty high expectations.
And I've got to say, to me, the expectations completely were exceeded.
Correct.
For a couple of reasons. Number one, no matter how much I prepared myself, when you walk out of your room and the castle is right there across the lagoon and you're standing on a private deck in your over-the-water bungalow, it is just spectacular.
Yes.
Now, there were a couple things that I don't want to say impacted our trip, but just because of like COVID restrictions and that sort of things, there were a couple things that normally would be happening that we didn't get to experience.
Right.
And I think these would have been like bungalow pinnacles.
Yeah.
So things like the
fireworks.
The water pageant wasn't going on.
Right.
And so there were a lot of things that we didn't get to experience in the bungalows that I think are big kind of selling features.
Right.
Because of that.
It was still amazing.
We didn't have a lot of time to just kind of enjoy the bungalow.
Yeah, because we were checking out all the other resorts.
Exactly. So that's one of the things I would say, that if you're considering a bungalow or if you're thinking about staying there, for us it really was a place in the mornings to have breakfast, in the evenings to hang out, and then to sleep. Most of our days were spent out doing things.
Right.
And so we didn't really get to enjoy the bungalow itself. The only like piece of advice I'd even give is to know that because of where the bungalows are located, right next to the ticket transportation center, the ferry boats start about like 8:30 in the morning, and they do have like their horn. So if
Constantly.
So if it's the kind of thing like that you're wanting a vacation where you sleep in until 11 and then like lounge around in quiet, you're probably not going to get it at the bungalows.
Yeah, because the entire time the ferries are running, it's about every 5 to 10 minutes that horn goes off.
Yep, you hear the horn of the ferries going, the ferries coming.
All day.
All day, but it is nice because there's nothing at night.
Right, yeah, but I mean, as soon as the ferries stop running,
it's quiet.
It's quiet. I am one of the lightest sleepers ever on the planet, and it didn't wake me up, and like I still was able to sleep until like 9 or 9:30 every morning.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So the bungalows for us, 2 thumbs up.
Yes.
I mean, it's also very hard for us to judge because we look at that whole experience through just rose-colored glasses.
Yeah.
And I actually even want to say something. It's kind of impressive that we do, because I'm going to be totally honest, I was in a bad mood so much this trip. Like, I don't know if it's just like, I don't know what's going on. I just felt like I was a grump and just like in a depressive funk. Yet when I still look back on this trip, like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, the Polynesian, the bungalow, like, that happened.
Yeah.
So now that's crazy. So now let's talk about the rest of the Polynesian resort, Sherri Beth.
Yes. I loved the grounds.
Oh my
I felt
gosh.
like the landscaping and just sort of the whole feel of it was very similar to Alani.
True.
Which I really liked. It's beautiful and these very tropical flowers, and it was very relaxing walking around. It was really pretty.
It was a beautiful resort.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of a walk from where we parked the car to the bungalow.
Yeah, 15 minutes.
Yeah, maybe 10 minutes, if that. And so a little bit of a walk. But again, these resorts are gigantic. I thought it was beautiful. Do keep in mind, though, that when we were at the Polynesian, a lot of the resort was under construction. Right?
Yes, there was a lot that we didn't get to see or do.
There was a lot that we didn't get to see or do. So it's hard for us to fully judge the Polynesian as a resort because a lot of it was closed.
Yeah.
But I think for us, the parts that were open, the gift shops, the great ceremonial house, walking around like the pool area, just the other buildings, everything was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was very relaxing.
It was very well kept. They like raked the sand every night. Like it was.
And just like the swings out on the sand and the chairs out on the sand, it was. It's so hard for me because this was our first Disney World resort vacation was in the bungalows.
I know.
Like, where do we
It's
go?
all downhill from here.
Yeah, what do we do next? It's like I literally don't know. It's like we just give up, I think, because there's no going up from here. So yeah, for us, the Polynesian, it was really special. I think that resort now will always be a special place for us. Yeah. Because of the memories that we got to make there.
Now, there were a couple things in the Polynesian that we were a little underwhelmed or disappointed with.
And they're both food.
Both food.
We had lunch one day at Kona, is that right?
Kona Cafe.
Kona Cafe, and we had the poke. And you guys know, if you saw the vlogs, you guys know, we're poke snobs.
We are, and I mean, I try not to be, but I totally am.
I was super let down by it.
I was super let down. It was like the smallest bit of poke I've ever seen in my life, and it was expensive, and it wasn't great. It wasn't good.
Yep, so lunch was disappointing there.
Yeah.
And then the Tonga toast. You guys know. I don't know. I don't want to spend time on this, you guys. It was just so disappointing. Like, there was no banana filling in mine, and it was just so dry, and it was so much bread, and there was just nothing great about it. And a lot of you guys in the comments were like, oh, you got it from Captain Cook's. You should have got it from Kona Cafe. But here's my argument against that.
Shouldn't they be same? They're literally 6 feet away from each other.
If you're going to, like, call it the same thing, right? Like, I shouldn't have I shouldn't have to go to one location to have a good experience with Tonga toast.
An upstairs or downstairs location.
Yeah, so
that's literally the difference.
So for me, I was super disappointed with it. I will be sticking to my Mickey waffles.
Yeah.
Other than those two things, the Polynesian for us was just
great.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. The next resort we visited was actually, I think the first night that
was on
we
Monday
were
night.
there. So we checked into the Polynesian, and then we went to Coronado Springs.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Wow.
Like, talk about setting the bar high as far as, like, the rest of the resorts we were going to see.
Yes.
Some of the highlights to me when I think of Coronado Springs was even driving up. We took a lift there. Even driving up, like, they had the tower, like, lights red and green. And so as you're approaching, you see it off in the distance, and it just feels festive. It looks festive.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then you enter that lobby.
You walk in, and then both sides, I think we actually posted on our Instagram one of the photos that I took. Both sides is, like, these Moroccan lamps, and it was all, like, red and green and gold and stunning. Like, this whole lobby just took my breath away.
Yeah, 100% agree. It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
I can't say how much we loved it.
And the tree was so pretty.
Yeah.
And multiple trees, but like they had the one giant tree, and it was so pretty. And the artwork with like Mickey going up into Walt,
yeah.
Like that was so cool.
Yep. Just like loved, instantly blown away by Coronado Springs.
Yes.
And then we had dinner that night at Rick's, which is a sports bar. Mm-hmm. I was so impressed with Rick's.
I was too. And so we're going to talk for just a second about COVID.
Yep.
And new restrictions and that kind of stuff. So with all the new restrictions, you did have to wear a mask to your table, and anytime you were not directly at your table. There was like a check-in process where they took your temperature and all that kind of stuff. And then the tables. We're going to talk about tables. So a lot of places have like a 50% capacity kind of rule, and so they have these tables marked off that are not to be sat at. I think Rick's actually just removed those tables.
It felt like the next table was so far away from us.
The closest table to us was 10 feet away.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like, it really felt like we had a ton of space. Very isolated, and I mean that in a good way.
Right.
The food I thought was really good.
The food was good. The service was good. Like, we watched the Seahawks game.
Yeah, so overall, like, that was, I thought, a great place. And I went into it with, like, no expectations because I didn't know Rick's.
We had no idea. Right?
Auburn had found this place for us, and it was, she absolutely knocked it out of the park with that. Yeah. It was a really cool first resort experience. Obviously, we checked into the Polynesian, but then, like, the Coronado Springs was the first one we got to see of the resorts we would go look at.
Right.
And it was just, like, I remember thinking...
It's at the bar.
Well, I remember thinking, like, are they all like this? Like,
yeah.
Like, holy cow.
Wow.
This is why people stay at Disney resorts.
What have we been missing?
Exactly, because it really was just beautiful.
Yeah. The next day, we started off our day at Old Key West.
Now, Old Key West, Auburn told us, was the original DVC resort. And there were a lot of things that I really liked about Old Key West.
Yeah.
One of them is that, to me, it didn't feel like I was walking around a hotel. It felt like I was walking around Key West. Like, I felt like I was walking around, like, a town, like a...
Literally, I was like, this feels like Key West.
Like
I feel like I'm walking
buildings.
past the houses and the buildings and, like, the little shops. Like, it was adorable.
It was really, really cool. We had, I don't remember the name of the restaurant, or the bar we had a drink at there. Do you remember? The Gurgling Suitcase?
Yes.
Wow.
Good job.
Nailed
I was going
it.
to look through my photos.
So we got drinks there, just kind of a little, a bar that you walked up and ordered, and then we sat outside in the sunshine.
I think I had the Rum Runner, and it was really good.
Yeah, so it was just, I thought Old Key West was beautiful and relaxing. One of the things that Auburn did mention is that normally there would be boats going, I think, from Old Key West to, like, Disney Springs, but those weren't running right now.
Right.
So you could get there via, like, bus, I think. The next resort we went to is, I believe, the newest Disney resort.
Yes.
And this was Riviera. Okay. Let's start with the positive.
Start with the positives. The mosaics.
Wow.
Were unbelievable. It's like over this whole huge arch, these tiny, tiny little pieces that make this whole beautiful picture. One of Tangled, one of Peter Pan. They were phenomenal.
And I liked, because Auburn said there's one thing at Riviera I want Sherri to see. Like, we really went to Riviera, I think, for Sherri to see this one thing.
Yeah.
And it was totally worth it.
I'm so glad we did, because it was amazing.
It was really pretty.
I want those in my house.
Other things I liked about the resort, I liked the outdoor grounds.
Yep, very pretty.
Yep, very pretty, very well taken care of. For us, so
Let's talk lobby.
we walked into the lobby first. That's where we went. We didn't take the Skyliner there.
Right.
We walked into the lobby, and it's almost like you're looking around like, wait, where's the lobby? Like, what? Where do
Am I in a Marriott or a Hilton or a Disney resort? Because I cannot tell.
It felt so generic and underwhelming.
It was pretty, but nothing Disney. Like, no feel of Disney whatsoever. The only feel of Disney I got was those mosaics outside, like, down around this path.
One of the things that Auburn pointed out in her review video, and I think maybe even in her vlog, was how narrow the grand staircase was.
It's a regular staircase.
And if there's two people, I mean, God forbid if you have a piece of luggage with you or a stroller or anything else.
Right.
Like, my goodness, it was so narrow. And it was just, it's also difficult because the night before, again, Coronado Springs, you walk in and you're just wowed.
Yeah.
And I kind of expected that because the Riviera is the newest, and from the outside it's beautiful, and it's like, oh man, I'm stoked to see this. And you get inside and it's just like,
I mean, it has, like, this cool, like, lighting artwork thing.
Super
up
modern,
top.
yeah.
Like, it's pretty, but it just didn't speak any Disney whatsoever.
Very underwhelming. Again, I think Sherri said this, just very generic. It could have been any hotel, any modern hotel, like in any city USA sort of thing. So that was a little bit disappointing. Still glad we got to see it, because those murals, to me...
The murals were amazing.
The murals...
I just feel like if I'm staying on a Disney property, paying the Disney prices, I want Disney.
The murals, to me, are worth visiting the Riviera.
Visiting, yes.
You know what I mean? Like, worth to go visit, to go see, to get photos, to see that in person. Walk up, look at all the detail, like how crazy that work is. So, yeah.
So then from the Riviera, we took the Skyliner to Epcot and then walked to the Boardwalk.
The boardwalk is probably the hardest one for me to give a review of.
Yeah.
Because it didn't feel like anything really was open.
Very few places on the boardwalk were actually open. They were all boarded up.
Yeah.
Some of them were completely shut down, not to reopen after COVID.
I could see how when, like, maybe a normal year, there's lots of people on the boardwalk, like they've got the carnival games going, all those shops are open. I could see how that would be a really fun place.
Yeah, if it was kind of bustling, which
Great energy.
I wouldn't want during COVID, so like
True.
it's a little bit of like a catch-22 here.
True.
But like, I feel like it would make the experience more enjoyable if it was kind of bustling.
Agreed.
It was just deserted.
And there also was, like, as far as Christmas decorations, there was a tree.
A tree.
And I think that's all we saw.
A tree. And you had to get back, like, from the back to get pictures of it because they were cleaning the outsides of the boardwalk. And so...
which, again, that's a good thing.
Which is a good thing
Yeah.
that they had blocked off, like, every entrance to get to this little tiny yard with this little tiny tree. So it was a little bit weird, and like that was literally the only Christmas decoration.
Yeah, that was a little bit strange. We did have lunch there though at the Boardwalk Bakery.
Mm-hmm, that was good.
It was good. I had like the big and beefy?
The big and beefy.
Is that right?
That's what you and I both had.
A gingerbread. Was it a gingerbread martini?
It's a gingerbread martini.
The gingerbread martini was good.
It was really good.
It was really
good. And
good.
it had a little gingerbread man like sitting in it.
Yep.
It was really cute.
The lunch. Some things I wish it would have been warm.
I agree.
It was a little difficult to bite through being a
cold bread
sandwich.
and cold meat. It was a little...
But as far as just like a quick lunch on the go, it was one of the few places that were open.
Yep.
And so I thought it served its purpose
It did,
well. And we got to sit out on a table on the boardwalk, which is kind of cool because there were a lot of like little birds around.
And watch birds and ducks.
We got to see a turtle.
Yeah.
And so like it was really cool. Like the setting of the boardwalk is really pretty. Mm-hmm. In fact, it's probably the one resort I would most like to go back to and see it like at its peak. Like
when it's open and
I wanna
everything's moving.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I want to go back in 8 years from now when the world has returned. I'm kidding. I want to go back to the boardwalk like on a night, like a Friday night or a Saturday night, and I want to like walk that boardwalk full of people and just like listen to the energy and the vibe because that's what I
want to go to the dueling piano bar.
Totally, like that's the kind of stuff I want to do for sure. So after the boardwalk, we walked over to the yacht club and beach club area.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't a bad walk. It was just kind of around the lake a little bit, and the yacht club we'll kind of discuss first because we got there first.
Yeah, yacht club and beach club very similar.
Very
to each
similar.
Other. Just so you know, like very very similar feel.
Right next to each other.
Right next to each other. Even like the outside look of the buildings, apart from color, very similar kind of feel. These are the two resorts to me. If we wanted like a relaxing beach vacation but still wanted to do a Disney resort, those are where I want to go.
Agreed.
They were so chill and just so relaxing, and it's just like even like the smells in the lobbies just very unique. Very unique, and made you feel like you were at the beach and just made you feel very relaxed.
Yeah. I'm going to talk decorations, like Christmas decorations, between Yacht Club and Beach Club. I feel like it would have been really easy for Disney to just be like, here's a semi-water theme, go. And that's not what they did. Like, the Yacht Club had very specific decorations, and the Beach Club had very specific decorations, which I actually really appreciated because they had their own feel, their own specific smells, which was crazy. And I really liked the feel of both of them.
Yeah, me too. I remember walking into Yacht Club, and the first thing I saw was this giant globe they had.
It was very, like, boat-themed.
Yep, very nautical kind of theme
Yacht
in the lobby.
themed, if you will.
If you will. It's an aptly named resort. And I just loved the feel of it. The lobby wasn't grand as far as, like, big and tall.
Right.
But it was a pretty wide lobby.
It was very pretty.
It was very pretty. Completely.
And you could go up these little stairs and, like, steer your own little captain's wheel.
Which I, as a 40-year-old man, 100% did. After we left the lobby of Yacht Club, we walked over and had a drink at Hurricane Hannah's, which is kind of the pool bar at Yacht Club, sort of like between Yacht Club and Beach
It's
Club.
right between Yacht Club and Beach Club, yeah.
And it was great.
Really good, yeah.
I loved that we ordered drinks, and then we sat at the table for a little bit, and then we actually walked down to this little, like, sandy beach area.
And he got an Instagram Live.
I got to do Instagram Live, which was awesome. But it was really cool because it felt like we were at a beach resort.
Yeah.
You know, because, I mean, you're there, you're in the sand, there's water right there. It was just...
You're looking across the lake at the boardwalk.
It was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Drinks were really great.
Yep.
So then we went over to Beach Club. Now, at Beach Club, we were going to do beaches and cream.
Trying to
do beaches and cream. Very hard to get into.
Yes. So there was a wait list for the reservations.
Yeah, like a walk-up list.
A walk-up list,
Yeah.
and we couldn't even get on the walk-up list because they were at capacity, and I'm not sure what that meant.
Yeah, even the walk-up list, they weren't adding people to.
Right.
So we hung around there and waited for a while just to like see possibly if we could get in.
Right.
We couldn't. We were there kind of for a specific purpose, not just to have ice cream. They have this giant bowl of like ice cream, like giant.
The kitchen sink.
The kitchen sink. And they have, I think I showed it in our vlog, they have this walk-up window.
Right.
Where you can get all of the Beaches and Cream ice cream except for the kitchen sink, which was the one thing we were there for. We only wanted to do that. Couldn't make it happen this trip, and so next trip, gosh darn it,
we will make it happen.
We're going to demolish a kitchen sink. But it was again really pretty, nice pool area.
Yep.
We sat outside. That's where we got to meet one of our viewers, Stacy.
Yes.
And so yeah.
Yep. And we walked through the lobby in the beach club, and it was very pretty, very beach themed. I loved, they have like the beach umbrellas kind of as like dividers between the hallway and the restaurant. And I really liked that. I thought it was very colorful, very pretty.
It was very, very pretty. I loved both of those resorts. To me, exceeded my expectations.
Yep.
And again, if we wanted like a relaxing Disney resort beach kind of vacation, I would 100% look at those.
And it's walking distance from Epcot.
Which I loved that. And I loved, so this was one of my favorite things. And I'm going to just touch on this now. We might talk about it a little bit later. Those Epcot resorts, I loved how accessible they were to each other. I felt like if you stayed at any of those resorts, you don't just get to enjoy your resort. It's so easy to enjoy all of that stuff.
Because it's all just right there around the lake.
And even the same with the Magic Kingdom resorts.
Yeah.
I really, really loved that. And that was something to me that I was not aware of. And so I really loved that. The Epcot resorts were so close. The Magic Kingdom resorts were accessible to each other. I thought it was great.
Me too. The next day, we checked some new transportation things off of our list that we had never done before. And I think we went to our favorite
100%.
resort.
100%. And so we took the boat from Polynesian over to Magic Kingdom, and then we got on another one of the resort boats.
We waved to the Magic Kingdom.
We waved to the Magic Kingdom, got on another one of the resort boats that took us to Wilderness Lodge.
Yeah.
I had, full confession, zero expectation of Wilderness Lodge.
None whatsoever. Like, I had done zero research on it. I was like, oh, Wilderness Lodge, sure.
The only thing I knew about Wilderness Lodge is I always thought about Wilderness Lodge, I thought that was like the campground area, which is close to there, apparently.
Right.
But like, I didn't know there was this big lodge. And we're walking up to it, and we're like,
oh my gosh.
whoa.
This is amazing.
Spectacular.
It's in like a wooded setting. Like, it's very pretty, very like secluded feeling, but it's literally just a boat ride from Magic Kingdom.
Amazing.
And so pretty.
Yeah, it felt very like Alaskan to us.
Did,
it was very familiar.
I think the landscaping at the Wilderness Lodge was my favorite of all the resorts.
I would agree with that. Just truly beautiful.
Yep.
A lot.
Waterfalls, and it's very pretty.
A lot of exposed beams, a lot of wood, obviously. Gave us real Grand Californian vibes.
It did, yep.
Which was cool because we love the Grand Californian.
I felt like, specifically in the Wilderness Lodge and Boulder Ridge, apart from any other resort, every single detail was thought about. Every nook, every cranny had a purpose and a art to it that was unnecessary but amazing.
Yeah.
Like, this huge support beams in this huge grand lobby of the Wilderness Lodge could have just been these poles, and it still would have been amazing.
Beautiful.
Nobody would have thought one thing about it. But on the tops of these poles, they had carved little animals, and I like, unnecessary but so pretty, so cool. Like, it just added that extra little like oomph that just took it right over the top for us.
If Yacht Club and Beach Club gave me like beach relaxation vibes, Wilderness Lodge gave me like, I want to sit in this rocking chair with a book and a blanket and just and a hot cocoa, kind of just like relax vibe. Yeah. Like, it had such a
grand
cool
fireplaces.
Oh my gosh, so beautiful. And while we were there, we did go down to the Boulder Ridge lobby.
Yep, which is the DVC.
The DVC side. And it was a much smaller lobby, but spectacular.
Just as beautiful, but like more cozy.
And I would say if I don't know what it's like at Christmas or not at Christmas time, because at Christmas time it's spectacular. The tree in the middle.
It smells like Christmas.
Oh my
You walk
gosh.
in and it's like, ooh, there's a tree and Christmas cookies and his grandma cooking it. Like, what is happening? It was amazing.
It was really, really amazing. We had lunch at Geyser Point while we were there. That's where we had, I think, the best service of our entire trip.
Hands down.
Mitch was our server there, and Mitch was a not just a 10 out of 10. Mitch was a 100 out of 10.
Right. Yeah. He was like he was very personable, but he wasn't like obnoxious, and he was like there when we needed him, but he wasn't like hovering and intrusive. Like he was a perfect server.
Like I love getting to talk to him. Like he to me is when I think of Disney service, I think of Mitch.
Yep.
So that was really great. Food at Geyser Point, I thought it was okay.
It was not bad. It was good.
Yeah.
Nothing that I would like crave.
No, we had
think.
was a bison burger?
We had the bison burger. We had the
charcuterie board.
Charcuterie board and the cheesy brisket.
And the cheesy brisket. All of them. Yeah, I didn't dislike any of them.
Right.
I wouldn't go back to get any of those meals.
Right.
I'd go back there for drinks and for Mitch.
I was just saying, I'd go back there just to like hang out with Mitch.
100%. 100%.
After the Wilderness Lodge, we took another boat back to the Magic Kingdom and then to the Grand Floridian.
This might have been the resort that I was the most excited to see.
I think it's the one I've heard the most about.
Maybe that's a better way to put it. Mm-hmm. It's the one that I've heard the most about. And so it was like, let's see what the fuss is about.
Right.
And we're walking from the boat dock over to the lobby, and it's very beautiful.
Very pretty. The buildings are like these big, grand, very like southern colonial kind of, like just very pretty. And
I love just the brightness of the white of the, you know what I mean? Yep. It felt perfect. Mm-hmm. And then we're getting close to the lobby, and Auburn, it's one of my favorite parts. Auburn was like, wait here, I want to go inside because I want to record your reaction. I'm like, wait, what? Like, what are we about to see? And then you walk into that lobby, and it's towering.
Yeah.
Spectacular. Like, just...
Stunning.
Yeah, stunning.
Yeah.
Everything white, the red of the poinsettias, just the gigantic tree in the middle. Yep. It was absolutely perfect.
Breathtaking.
Yep, breathtaking. Mm-hmm. And so we really loved the Grand Floridian.
I really did. I loved the tree. The tree theme was 12 Days of Christmas, and so every ornament was one of the gifts from 12 Days of Christmas, and then had these huge ornaments with like the number and the gift, and like it was so cool.
Which I didn't even pick up on that until Sherri told me.
I was like, look, it's 12 Days of Christmas.
That's really, really cool. The only thing that I'd say I kind of felt like Grand Floridian was lacking, and maybe some of this is intentional, right? Mm-hmm. Is it didn't feel very Disney to me.
Yep, it was very, very pretty.
Very pretty, beautiful. It was Disney quality as far as what you expect visually, but there wasn't a lot of Disney in there. And so, again...
Give me a hidden Mickey. Like, I'm happy.
And actually, that'd be interesting. I want to know from some of you guys, are there hidden Mickeys?
Are there? Like, we just didn't see any.
That would actually be cool.
Yeah.
To know where the hidden Mickeys are in the resorts that don't feel very Disney.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say, and maybe this is just a me thing, when I think about, okay, would I want to stay at the Grand Floridian? I don't know that I would. Because when I was in there, I felt like I was at my grandma's house, and I was nervous to touch anything.
I felt like they were just missing like the plastic over the sofas.
Yeah.
Like it was just really, and not that my actual grandmother ever had that, but like I feel like there's like this stigma about like grandma's house where you don't touch anything, you don't break anything. Like
that's how I felt there.
I just felt like I just want to walk around and look, but like not touch anything.
Whereas like Wilderness Lodge, where we had just come from, I was like, give me a book and a blanket and a rocking chair and let me just I'm gonna sit here forever.
Not move.
Whereas like in the Grand Floridian, I'm like, I'm not touching anything. I'm not touching anything. And so to me, it was beautiful to see. It wasn't the most relaxing kind of feel for me.
Right. But
we did have drinks in the Enchanted Rose.
Yes, we did.
And it got better because our first experience we walked in, Not great. Auburn walked in to try to get us a seat and did not have a good experience with a cast member in there.
No.
But then we went next door to the library and found what ended up being, I think, the perfect place to sit for us.
Yes.
It was stunning.
It was really pretty in there and very relaxed. And much better than the actual Enchanted Rose bar.
I agree with you.
Much better.
I liked the library better.
Like 10 times out of 10, I would sit in the library.
I prefer to go to the library than the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I liked that it was Beauty and the Beast themed, obviously, and there were like nods to that in there. You guys saw it in the video, like Miss Potts. You saw Lumiere. You saw Cogsworth. My brain just stopped.
The actual Enchanted Rose, like it was very pretty, but not like in your face Disney. It was just like this little like, here's some Disney for you.
I loved it.
I loved it.
Drinks there were very expensive.
Yep.
Very expensive.
It was good. I had a Cosmo, and not the best Cosmo I've ever had. Hands down, the most expensive Cosmo I've ever had. But it was good.
Yeah, I had my drink kind of the same. Good drink. To me, I felt like it was more of the novelty of getting to go there and experience it.
Yeah.
I would go back and have another drink just because how beautiful the setting is.
Yep.
But it's not the kind of place that, I would go drink every night.
No.
Because I can't afford to go
Correct.
there and drink every night. After Grand Floridian, we went back to the bungalow and changed because we had dinner that night at California Grill at the Contemporary Resort.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to talk about the Contemporary Resort now because we went to the Contemporary that night for dinner at California Grill, but we didn't get to see a lot of the resort.
Right, we literally just like walked in and went to the restaurant and then left.
So the next day, Auburn and Emma took us back via the monorail, and we got to see more of the resort. So we're going to kind of talk about the Contemporary right now, and I'll be totally honest with you from the very beginning. This one to me was the most underwhelming of all the resorts we saw.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I would agree. I would put it with the Riviera.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I think that the thing that...
It did have a pop of Disney here, and the Riviera had a pop of Disney there, but like the whole resort as a whole was just...
Yeah, the Contemporary to me felt dated, but not in a good way.
Yeah, it just felt old.
It felt like you walked into an old mall that needed like to be redone.
Yeah.
And I understand that some of that is like when it was built, and that's just kind of what it is.
Yeah, it was the second resort. It opened 45 minutes after the Polynesian
Yep,
in 1971.
Yep.
The year Walt Disney World opened.
Exactly.
So, but I don't feel like it's been updated since then.
To me, the Polynesian feels old in a good way. Right? There's a way for something to feel like older, but still like well kept up, and still like it has the good feel you want it to.
Right.
That's what Contemporary lacked for me. It just felt dated.
It just felt dated.
To me, a draw to Contemporary, without a doubt, is proximity to the Magic Kingdom.
Yes.
And the
it's
views.
right there.
It's right there. So then we went up to dinner, California Grill, first night. Highlights of California Grill to me were the people we were with.
Yes.
And the view.
The view was amazing.
Like you're looking right down into the park. You're looking into the park.
Right.
That's crazy.
Right. Like I feel like you could just like throw a stone and hit the castle. Like
shouldn't do that.
There. You shouldn't do that. And
but,
also there's windows, so you can't.
That's a good point.
I feel like it was so close.
Yeah, really loved that. The service was okay. The drinks were pretty good. The food was good. Now
Food was good.
The food was good. I don't think the food, and we talked about this in our vlog, to me the food did not warrant the price that was paid.
Right.
And I feel like if California Grill, at least the experience that we had, again, if California Grill was a high-end restaurant outside of Disney, like if it had to survive on its own in like a city, and that's what they had, I think it goes out of business quickly.
I think so, yes. I think that what keeps it in business is that it's Disney and people know they're going to pay a lot of money for very little.
And the view.
And the view.
Yep.
The view itself, and especially if there's fireworks going on, I can see wanting to go to the Contemporary and California Grill and eat there with the fireworks, because they
100%.
type the music in to the restaurant so you can hear the music that's happening, you can see the fireworks, they're right there.
I would go back.
That would be amazing.
I would go back to California Grill for dinner with that experience.
Right.
With fireworks, that kind of thing, I would go back.
Correct.
But if we went back to Disney World and it was just like had an evening, wanted to fill it with a dinner, California Grill would not be on my radar. Another thing I liked about Contemporary, though, we talked about this in the vlog, the shopping.
The shopping was fantastic.
The gift shops were amazing.
Yeah, floor 4 is like where the gift shops and like the restaurant something. There's Mickey's.
Chef Mickey's, yep.
Is there. And like the shopping was really great.
Loved that.
Of all of the other like little gift shops in all the other resorts, I think that was the best.
Yeah, completely agree. So Contemporary for us, some good, some not so great.
And the novelty of riding the monorail right into the hotel.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Totally.
Yeah.
After we left the Contemporary, we went to Animal Kingdom Lodge. And you guys, this is like the last resort we're going to.
Yeah, and this is, I think, one that we just sort of like tacked on. We were like, we have time to kill. Let's go.
I am I am so thankful
So glad.
to Auburn and Emma for being willing to go there and for suggesting we go there and for taking us there.
Yep.
Because this was another one of those real highlights to me.
Yes.
Now, we did go to, and you guys let us know in the comments, we went to Kidani Village, which is the DVC side of the resort.
Right,
we
we
didn't go to Jumbo House.
Right.
Which is apparently like the larger, more grand of the lobbies. However, the reason we went to Kidani Village is that the primary reason we were going was Sanaa.
Lunch. Right.
Was lunch at Sanaa. That was like the reason we were going.
Right. The restaurant that's there.
And let's talk about Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Animal Kingdom Lodge. The animals like in just the courtyard of the rest of the
savannah right there.
Hotel.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Like there's like zebras and giraffe and these crazy birds with like crazy hair and like these animals are just like chilling, like just walking around. Like I don't even know what to say because it was the coolest thing ever.
I had seen the promo photos of Animal Kingdom Lodge online where it's like the guy standing outside and he's like drinking his morning coffee and there's like a giraffe next to his room. And if I'm totally honest, I thought they might have one room that's like that. But like that's not the whole resort.
Right, and I actually kind of always felt like there must have been like one of the trainers or somebody like back there with like waving a carrot or like, hey, come over here.
Because it can't really be like
that. Like they can't just actually be wandering around.
Oh,
like they
it's
put
like
the giraffes there. No, they literally did. Like these giraffes are just like hanging out.
And that was one of the coolest things to me was that we went to this resort and it's free to visit these resorts, right? Like we tried to have food or drinks at every one of them. We tried to spend money at every resort, whether it was in the gift shop, whether it was in a restaurant, whether it was in a bar. We had tried to spend some money at every restaurant or at every resort. At Animal Kingdom Lodge, you walk in and they're just right there. Like I'm like, wait, I didn't have to pay a ticket to get out here and like look at the giraffes and the zebras. It was so stinking cool. I will never forget that experience.
They were closer than like when you do the safari.
It was crazy. Yeah, it was so crazy. Let's talk about lunch at Sanaa.
It was so good.
The bread service?
I will dream about.
To me, the bread service was spectacular.
The best thing we ate.
At the whole trip?
I would put it up there, yeah.
I would put it, to me, it's a top 3 thing that we ate on the entire trip.
Yeah.
Lunch as well, the entrees were really great. We were supposed to have like a 45-minute wait for a table. It ended up being like a 5-minute wait.
Yeah, they said 45 minutes. We were like, we'll go hang out with the animals some more. So we went outside and we were like, it was 5 minutes. And they were like, your table's ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
just amazing.
Yeah.
So Animal Kingdom Lodge for us was such a spectacular way to end Disney resorts.
Yes.
So on this trip, and we're going to get into some things. You guys know how we're going to end this video because I know it's already been long. Thanks for sticking with us. We're going to talk about our favorite resort, our favorite bite, like what was our favorite meal, our favorite place to have a drink, favorite smell, all of those kind of things. Just so you know, like what the highs were for us from this trip. We visited 11 different Disney resorts. We also took 6 different kinds, we took 5 different kinds of Disney transportation.
We stuck the ferry on there because we have done it before, so we figured we could just sort of compare.
These aren't all Disney. We did take a Lyft, which isn't Disney, but it gets you around Disney.
Yep.
Bus, Skyliner, boat, again, the ferry, and then the monorail. Sherri, of those, what were your favorites?
I actually preferred Lyft. I felt like it was the most convenient because it's door to door. Like it picks you up and it drops you off where you need to go. So there's no like walking to the ticket transportation center or standing in line for the monorail or the Skyliner, or like it just picks you up and drops you off. So that was super convenient. I really liked that. Otherwise, as far as like actual Disney, I think this time I actually preferred the monorail.
Okay.
Usually they try to pack as many people in as possible, which is really uncomfortable. But during COVID, it's one party per car. So it was just the 4 of us on the monorail, and I actually really liked that. And we actually went like all the way around on the monorail, which we had never done before.
I did like that. My favorites were Lyft, for sure. Yeah. I'm a believer, like especially on vacation, like I'm fine paying for convenience if it saves us time and energy.
Yeah.
You know, and that to me was the thing with Lyft, is that most of the Lyfts we took from resort to resort were $10 to $13 or so.
And I have limited energy.
And Sherri has limited energy. And so for me, like a $13 Lyft ride that's going to pick me up at this door and drop me off literally right where we need to go, that's $13 well spent.
Right.
Because we get to do more over the course of the day. You don't end the day as exhausted. And honestly, we get there quicker.
Yeah.
And so I I'm a huge lift fan.
Yeah.
I really love the convenience of that, getting around the Disney resorts. My other favorite one were the boats. Not the ferry, but like the smaller resort boats.
Yeah, they were actually really cool.
I loved that.
Yeah.
It was so much better than I expected. I remember when we got off the boat, or when we got on the boat at the Polynesian, took it over to Magic Kingdom, I was like, this was so nice.
This was easy.
Like, this was so simple. And they're smaller boats, so you're not packed on there with people, and it was pretty quick, and you get like this little boat ride. And,
yep, and they're still doing limited capacity on the boats.
And the cast members who were on there were like helpful and funny and telling jokes, and it's just, I don't know, it was such a great experience.
Yeah.
That to me, of the Disney transportation, the boat I thought was the best. Now let's get into the real reason that people have been watching for what is now 4.5 hours. This is considered a biblical epic at this point, as far as length. All right, Sherri, we had some really good food this trip.
We did.
We had some food issues, I would say, some letdowns, but we also had some great food.
We had some really good food.
I want to hear what are a couple of your food highlights, and then what was your number one, your favorite meal, your favorite bite of the entire trip.
Okay, well, highlights the bread service at Sanaa.
Totally.
I think probably my favorite was the lasagna at Enzo's Hideaway, which
Yeah.
is not actually Disney, it's at Disney Springs.
Yep.
But it was really good.
Yeah.
And not on the menu.
It was phenomenal. Apparently it's normally on the menu, but it's not been on the menu.
It was not.
And they made it happen for us, which is amazing. For me, my favorites would be the bread service at Sanaa. Paddlefish I thought was really good.
Oh, paddlefish was really good.
But my favorite meal, the lasagna at Enzo's Hideaway.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah.
And I was so happy because...
And we were tucked back in this tiny little corner.
It was such a good night. And it was so great because Auburn had really talked up the lasagna.
Yeah.
And she did not oversell it. It
No.
was spectacular.
We were really just in my head, I was just like, she has really talked this up.
I hope it's good.
If I don't like it, I'm going to feel so bad. But it was so good.
She knows what she's talking about.
Yeah.
She did not steer us wrong when it came to that. Because Enzo's Hideaway, I would go back next time we're there. Spectacular.
For sure, yes.
Now, Sherri.
Yeah.
Favorite place to have a drink?
It's a little bit of a tie for me. Setting, I really liked the Enchanted Rose. I felt like it was very laid back. The couches were really comfortable. It was just easy to kind of like chill and drink your drink, but it was very expensive. So I wouldn't want to actually just go chill there and like have a few drinks because we're going to go broke.
It was a great place for one drink.
Yeah.
Yep.
As far as like overall, I really liked Geyser Point.
So did I.
It was an outdoor bar. And so you could still kind of feel the breeze, but you weren't like in the element. So we weren't like baking under the sun. We weren't in the rain. Like it was really nice. Obviously the service was amazing. The drinks were really good. Like they know what they're doing. I was impressed with Geyser Point.
Geyser Point's mine as well.
Yeah.
It was, again, the food to me was so-so at Geyser Point.
Yeah.
But the drinks and the service.
The drinks were great.
And the setting. And the chairs are kind of like these sort of like lay-back lounge chairs. Not like recline lay-back, but just like you sit in and you're just
deep
nice
and like
deep.
reclined. Like, yeah, they were really comfortable.
It's the kind of place that I could like sit and have like multiple drinks and just hang out for a while and talk with friends and be outside and you're looking at the water and it's just beautiful. So to me, I agree with you. Geyser Point, if I had to go back and have a drink anywhere, that's where I'd go.
Yeah.
Next, this is a big one. One of the things that we loved as we went to the different resorts was how each of them not only had such a unique look, they all had a unique smell as well.
Yeah.
Sherri Beth.
Yeah.
Favorite smell?
This one's really hard.
Okay.
Because they're all so unique.
Yeah.
Walking into the bungalow, you're just like, oh, this smells good. I want this candle. If I really had to choose, I think Beach Club.
Really?
Yeah, it smelled like the beach. It smelled like suntan lotion and sun and sand, and it was so relaxing. Like in the lobby, inside, I'm just like, I feel like I'm at the beach.
So Beach Club to me is my number 2. My number 1 is whatever the heck they had in the bungalow. When we first walked in, I don't know what it was. If one of you please, you will be my hero. I need to know what the smell is in the bungalows.
It was really good. You know what? I also really, really liked Boulder Ridge.
Well, I like Boulder Ridge too. Emma mentioned, and I think she's right, she pointed this out and it totally like was mind-blowing to me, that the bungalow smelled like Disney Cruise Line.
It kind of did.
And when she said that, I was like, wait, I'm on the ship. The smell when we walked into the bungalow was something I will never, ever, ever forget.
Yeah.
And now the big one.
Yeah.
Sherri, Of the 11 resorts, what was your favorite resort? Keeping in mind, we can't really judge. Take the bungalow out of it.
Right, we
have to
just
remove
the resorts
just
that
the
we
resorts.
visited.
Yes, we have to take the bungalow out of it. Favorite resort?
I think Wilderness Lodge.
Yeah?
I think that's the one that I would want to go back to the most.
Mine is also Wilderness Lodge. It was amazing.
Yeah.
We want to end this video, and I want to say something. This whole trip started because months ago, shortly after we first met Auburn, we started to talk about the way that Sherri and I do Disney. And Sherri and I do Disney maybe the way a lot of you guys do Disney. We fly in, we're pretty tired when we get there, but we've spent a lot of money to get there, we've spent a lot of money on park tickets, and we feel like we have to get our money's worth. And normally what that means is that we go to the parks, we're there, and kill ourselves until we drag ourselves back to our Airbnb or hotel.
Thing that day in the park.
And then we end the vacation of the parks and yes, it's been magical. Yes, we've had fun. Yes, we loved it, but we are exhausted.
We're exhausted. And with my EDS, my breaking point is usually like 6 p.m. and we still end up staying until 11.
Yeah, and we still have hours to go.
I'm exhausted and I'm in tears at the end of the day because I hurt and I'm tired and it's just not fun. Part of me is just like, why do we keep doing this to ourselves? Like, there has to be a better way to Disney.
Yeah, and so that's when Auburn...
And there is.
Enter Auburn Human and her family. Because Auburn started to ask us, have you ever done a Disney resort vacation? And I've said this a number of times. To me, the thought of resort hopping was always so confusing because you guys know I spent more than a decade working in the hotel industry. And so I thought, I've seen a lot of hotel lobbies. I have no desire...
A lobby is a lobby.
A lobby is a lobby is a lobby. I have no desire to spend the day going to see hotel lobbies. Auburn so changed my mindset and my view of Disney resorts and Disney resort hopping.
Yeah.
I completely would go back and do the exact same thing we just did. To me, I felt like we got to experience so much Disney magic.
Yep.
And we never set foot in the park.
No.
And we never spent the $1 on park tickets.
I don't feel like we missed any Disney.
I am shocked that we're saying that. Because I agree. I feel like we had a Disney vacation.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I still got to go to the gift shops. I still got my ears. I still got to pay a lot of money for okay food. It was just
Yes.
It was still Disney. But I wasn't in pain at the end of the day.
This to me was very eye-opening, and it gave us a new way to do Disney.
Yeah.
In fact, I would say, and I think you and I agree with this, we've talked about this, thinking of different Disney vacations and experiences, right? There's Disney Cruise Line, right? You guys know we love cruising with Disney.
Yep.
And then there's Disney parks. And that's kind of always been the two for us. In fact, you guys remember we made a video talking about what do we like better, Disney parks or Disney cruise, right? But to me, there was this third element that we had completely missed until this trip, which was Disney resorts.
Yeah.
And the most amazing thing to me is that after this trip, I would say number one for me is still Disney Cruise Line.
Yeah.
It's cruising with Disney. Come on.
Cruising with Disney.
It's spectacular.
It's the most relaxing, but you can still do everything Disney that you want.
Disney Cruise Line is probably forever number one in our hearts.
Yes.
Number two, to me, resorts. I would rather do what we just did than have a Disney parks vacation.
The parks are way down the list now, and not just third. I feel like it's cruise line and resorts, and then
more resorts, and then more resorts, and then more resorts, and then the parks are somewhere else down there.
World of Disney is somewhere in there, and then the parks.
And so it's unbelievable because it's exactly what Auburn had said. And she was so right and so true. Yeah. And we're so thankful for, we've said this in every video, I think, and I hope we have. We're so thankful for Sarah and Emma and Auburn for making this trip happen. Not just for the trip, but also for the fact that our eyes have been opened to a new way to do Disney.
Yeah.
That for Sherri is easier.
Much easier, yeah.
It is still filled with Disney magic. It was still so much fun. It was also relaxing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm so thrilled that we had this experience.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to do another Disney resort vacation.
Me too.
If it's a while before cruising comes back or whatever it looks like, I'd go do another resort vacation immediately.
Yeah.
So Emma, Sarah, Auburn, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you to all of you who watched all of our videos, this vlog series. Thank you guys so much. We love you. Let us know any questions down below, and we'll answer if we can. Again, we're not Disney resort experts. This was our first time.
Yeah.
but what an unbelievable first time it
So
was.
good.
You guys, we love you so much, and we'll see you on the next LeggLife video.